Welcome to the Mike Litton Experience Podcast. Mike has over 31 years experience in real estate, finance, and investing. He's passionate about being a father, a teacher, a realtor, an investor, and a leader. Everyone has a story, and our passion is to help them tell it. And now, introducing the host of the Mike Litton Experience, Mike Litton.
So what can you expect from the Mike Litton Experience? You can expect stories that will inspire, motivate, advice that will sharpen your focus, and expert information on real estate, finance, and market conditions.
So I know I did right by this client, and here you are backing the client, making me feel like, maybe even chastising me, in the kitchen and what have you.
Well, it alienates them.
Yeah. And
It alienates them, right? It makes them feel like you don't have their back.
For the amount of money I make here, I'm gone, kind of, so to speak, your employee. And especially in today's world, nobody wants to put up with squat. But back to the lessons of learning from other restaurants. I would highly recommend. That was an amazing lesson my dad insisted my brother and I go do. And in other words, if you want to open a business on your own, even if it's a side hustle to start with, before you start launching and making all the mistakes on your own dime, tripping over yourself, learning some new business that you want to launch, go do it for somebody else, even as a apprentice for free if need be. You need to learn, take what you think are good ideas from somebody else. You need to do it maybe for multiple people if possible. We did it in multiple restaurants. Let me give you another thing I did in that area. I went from, after we did these restaurants and with my uncle in San Antonio, we came back to Puerto Rico, and we were building out the first restaurant. There was a lot of construction going on. It was months away, almost a year out from before we were open. And in the meantime, I needed to go work for another restaurant in Puerto Rico while we waited for our restaurant to open. Right. So I went to not a fast food, Mexican or anything else. I went to say, I want to learn the high end, full service, table service restaurant. So I went to one of the best restaurants in Puerto Rico at the time. It was called the Scotch and Sirloin, a high end steak and seafood restaurant. And I went in there. Again, I'm a young kid. I'm 19. I went to speak to the managers. Hey, I'd love to work for your restaurant. Looking for a job. And the guy's like, well, we're not really hiring anybody. And I'm like, man, you can pay me whatever you want to pay me. I want to learn every position in this restaurant. I'm going to be the best employee you ever have had. I'm going to, I want to learn to be the busboy, the barback, the waiter, whatever you can teach me, dishwasher, you name it. I want to do all the roles if possible. I'll be the first one here and the last one to leave. And he laughed at me. He goes, kid, he called the owner. Said, Larry, come here. You got to meet this kid. So the guy asked me, one more thing I said to the manager before we finished. I says, a year from now, if you let me hire, I'm going to be the best employee you've ever seen for 1 year. And 1 year from now, I'm going to open my own restaurant. And he burst out laughing. He didn't know I already had a deal going. We were right. I didn't tell him we already contracted at the Plaza Las Americas Mall. The restaurant's under construction. I just made it sound like a kid with a dream. In 1 year, I'm going to open my own restaurant. He burst out laughing and called the owner. Larry, you got to come here and meet this kid. So Larry walks in. He goes, what's up? Tell him, says, man, I want to be your best employee. I want to learn every position, yada, yada, yada. And a year from now, I'm going to invite you to the grand opening of my own restaurant. He laughed as well, but they hired me. Yeah. And I did exactly that. I learned, from dishwashing to barback to busboy to eventually to waiter and bartending a little bit, But back then in Puerto Rico, if you could reach the countertop, you could serve or buy booze. You didn't have to be 21.
Right. What's amazing, what's brilliant about what you're talking about is we've interviewed, we're now on we've done over 180 episodes. Okay. Wow. And we have stories. If you go back and listen to the stories that we have on our podcast, nearly every single self-employed owner of a company has gone to somebody who was doing what they wanted to do, volunteered to work for free. I don't care what you pay me. I'll just work here. Right. And some of them worked for free for a while. Some of them offered to work for free and they hired them because they offered to work for free. right? That kind of thing. But it was one of those things where we don't care what you pay me. I don't care what you pay me. What I care about is what I'm going to learn. You with me? And that's a big deal. This whole apprenticeship thing, like we've interviewed some of the most successful people you've ever dreamed of in your life in terms of business. And those same people have told us on camera, live on the air, that they would absolutely hire somebody as an apprentice right now if they walked in the door and said, I'm going to do this, this, and this for free for you, if you'll just teach me what you know. Okay. The opportunities are out there everywhere, everywhere. A lot of times when you show up and you offer to work for free, they know now that you're willing to invest yourself in this, that this is not just a paycheck for you, right? This is a calling. This is something that you want to know. That means a lot to somebody. You know this. That means a lot to somebody who's self-employed, who owns a business, because for them it's personal.
Yeah.
Right.
And many of us like to teach. We like to share this knowledge of entrepreneurship.
We also love to see ourselves in younger people.
Exactly.
Love it. Absolutely love it. So if you're listening to this and you have something you want to go do, go to work for somebody who's doing what you're doing, offer to work for free. It's a great way to get started.
And more than likely, they'll be like, no, I'll pay you, and they're going to give you fair pay, whatever it may be, because they want that. They don't want just an employee, even if it is for a year or two. They don't want just the employee. They want somebody who's really trying to learn and do their, the best possible, and, eventually branch out and do something.
They're looking for desire.
Yeah.
That's what they're looking for. They're looking for desire. They're looking for commitment. They're looking for dedication. That's what they're looking for. And if you show up and say, I just want to work here for what I'm going to learn, I don't care what you pay me, that's the kind of thing they're looking for. So yeah, I totally agree with that. Okay. So you sell the restaurants, you sell the nightclub, you then go to Orlando. What do you do in Orlando?
I look for sales jobs.
Okay.
What pays the most in this town? And looking through, back then it was a newspaper, the internet wasn't even out.
Yeah.
And so looking for the jobs that promise 1,000 a week, 2,000, you can make $2,000 a week. I'm like, whoa,
Yeah.
20, 30 years ago. So I'm like, so what's that all about? It's obviously the only thing you can make unlimited amount of money in was sales.
Yeah.
And so I got into sales and worked at the beginning I was working a night job, waiting tables, and daytime sales.
Yeah.
And again, in business, are you willing to burn the candle at both ends? Are you willing to, work a night job while you build the business, or while you learn a career, or while you learn sales? So anyway, I was doing that, and it wasn't long before commissions, since I always found myself to be a student of sales and Brian Tracy and Zig Ziglar's and so on and so forth, to teach myself sales skills. I did just that before, I was running steak and seafood sales operations for a while, and then I got into home security sales and had a huge telemarketing team and a door-to-door sales team selling home and business security systems. And eventually I fell into the timeshare industry, which is huge in Orlando, $15 billion a year in timeshare operations. And one of my neighbors, I'd see him at 2:00 in the afternoon. He's home from work, blowing a steak on the grill, drinking a beer. And I'm maybe coming home for a late lunch, and I got to go back to work. And I'm saying, he's done for the day. And I'm like, what do you do? He goes, I sell timeshare. And I go, what's that? And so he invites me down to check it out. And the next morning I'm there at 7 a.m. to watch it. And this whole resort by 7:30 in the morning, if you've ever been on one of these things in Orlando, especially, 7:30 in the morning, this entire place is full of tourists.
Yeah.
And there's 200 salespeople, each with a family, and they're all sitting down and they're eating breakfast, and there's noise going on. And an hour later, that I'm waiting for my interview, and an hour and a half later, there's welcome new owners from Orlando, Florida, welcome new owners from Chicago, and all this noise going on. And just like, what? It felt like Wall Street, like I was sold as I got to get in this. And they ask around, so all I got to do is every day they have prospects come to me. I don't have to knock on doors or make telemarketing calls or ask for referrals. Every day there's new prospects to talk to. I can I can do that. I'm a closer. So yeah, that worked out great. I was became a closer for timeshare, made a lot of money. But after about a year, I got bored with the prospects I was talking to, or I wanted better quality prospects that I was, talking to. And because by then I was bilingual, mind you, I taught myself to speak Spanish when I got into business for myself. When I opened that Mexican restaurant and my clients would make fun of my Spanish, and I'm supposed to be the owner of this Mexican food restaurant, but I couldn't describe guacamole in Spanish. And so I learned Spanish with business. And now I wanted to speak to more Spanish speaking clients that were at that time, they loved buying, that they had bigger families. They traveled with 8 people. They needed those 3-bedroom condos versus hotel rooms. So they were buying that. They were better qualified prospects to buy, into these timeshare programs. And so I wanted more of them. And I went to the company, the management company, said, hey, I've got this idea, that idea to bring us more Hispanics. And they told me what a typical sales manager would tell his salesperson. They said, you know what? Shut up and go love the one you're with. They were like, you know what? We have marketing people. You're not in marketing. You're in sales. Go love the one you're with. And
stay in your lane. Yes.
Stay in your lane. Stick to it. Well, I didn't take no for an answer. And I partnered up with somebody who'd been in that company for years, longer than myself. We went to meet with the owner of the company, David Siegel, who happens to be the billionaire of South Florida.
Yeah.
He's like Donald Trump of the Southeast. And so we met with him and we cut a deal. And we launched our own like Century 21 system. We had our own real estate brokerage. We would be selling Westgate Resorts properties under our brokerage umbrella, focusing on the Latin market. And then we focused on the Latin community and in Brazil. And before you know it, within a year, I had about 80 people working for me, but both about 40 or 50 of them in sales, another 30, 40 in the marketing side. And we were generating about $1 million a month in transactions. And we blew up. I mean, we had limousines picking up our guests all over Orlando, putting them in a limo and driving them out to the resort and just killing it. End of the day, we got too big for our britches, and that, the management couldn't stand to see how, at the same sales resort, we had a whole bunch of people that worked for me and not for them. And, our guys were making more money than they were and so on. So they bought our company. Oh, wow. And I became their director of marketing. So I took over all of their marketing for Westgate Resorts. And by that time, I was also becoming an internet marketing expert. I became an early adapter of internet marketing in 1996. And by the year 2000, I was running the internet marketing for all of Westgate Resorts, and sold my way into that in a different way, different story. But at the end of the day, we did over $200 million a year in timeshare sales driven from the internet. For 8 years, I did almost $1 billion worth of sales, for this company prior to 2008, when it all came to a dead halt. So it was,
everything came to a dead halt.
Right.
So after 2008, after everything came to a dead halt, what did you do?
Well, I jokingly laugh. Today, I can laugh about it. 2008, I had to, in those days, I say driven by the internet, but it wasn't online transactions. Nobody bought on the internet back then.
Yeah.
People would love the internet. They loved their email. We were mass email marketers. We were, et cetera, all kinds of stuff on the internet. But it was all driven to an inbound phone call or an outbound or a lead that generated an outbound call. So nobody bought online. People were afraid to put their credit card online. I mean, there was a a big deal when Clinton did the first, put his credit card in online, and President Clinton did that to try to encourage people to start buying online. Anyway, 2008, I had to lay off about 2,000 telemarketers, and then I got fired, better yet. I got together a couple of years, I laughingly say now it was one of the best sales years ever for me, 2009, 2010, 2008. I sold my house, I sold my furniture, I sold my cars, I sold my motorcycle, I sold my boat, I sold my jewelry. I mean, it was, it got real bad. You know,
It was a personal liquidation deal.
yeah, I never. I mean, I went from living in, you know, I never knew it would take this long to recover. I kept thinking, I'm going to bounce back. I will land vertically. I'll be running some other company as a VP in no time. But no matter how many resumes I sent out, no matter what I did, I couldn't. You know, nobody was hiring anywhere, especially a high ticket position I was hoping to get into. So little by little, you know, I mean, I was living in a neighborhood called Windermere in Orlando, Florida. It's right down the road. I'm down the road from the likes of Tiger Woods and that community. It was gorgeous. Anyway, 7 cars in the driveway. Little by little, that all dried up and went away. And next thing I know, I'm having to, you know, hold my hat, man. I couldn't do it in Orlando. I couldn't hold my hat in my hand and start over from the ground up in a community that I thought, you know, I was an executive of a big company, and now I got to start from the bottom somewhere. I just can't do it in Orlando. But I had no choice. I had to do it. So I moved out of Orlando, moved to Fort Lauderdale, Miami area, and pretty much homeless, living in a motel, working again at night. It's embarrassing to say, you know, I went back to, you know, starting in direct door-to-door sales. And by the time I another year later, found myself in another marketing role, traveling, you know, pulled myself up eventually and got back. But we ended up getting together back with some other partners of mine that created a partnership with the new guys that I had, you know, met during my years in Westgate. And we started our own travel company in 2010. And eventually that grew and started taking off like rocket fire. And, you know, today I run a company called Marketing Boost, which came about by accident, thanks to our other travel website. And so, you know, once you know how to make money, that's something that you never lose. You know, so when I was down and out, I have to get anybody listening, you might find yourself here. Life is a circle of, and there's cycles. And sometimes depending upon, you know, your stroke of a luck, because in business and in life, there's a combination of how hard you work and a little sprinkling of luck sometimes. And
the harder you work, the bigger the sprinkle.
The bigger the sprinkle. Yeah. Yeah. The harder you keep working and the harder you prepare for opportunities, the more luck comes your way.
It's true. It's absolutely true.
But and there's some bad luck that might come through there, and that can take you down and out, or you can say, oh, that's okay, get up off the floor, get back on the horse, and you know what, prepare yourself a little better, read another book, study another course, make sure you're better prepared to handle the next unlucky streak. But you know,
what is it Zig Ziglar says? Swallow the frog and move on. Yeah. Right.
Absolutely. There's no choice about it. So the more you keep looking, the more luck you will find.
That's it. That's it. So tell us about Marketing Boost.
So Marketing Boost came about by accident. We were looking, we had another big, very successful travel website that we were growing, and we wanted video testimonials, and we couldn't get them. So we were like, how can we get people to, remind we were selling travel, we're selling gorgeous hotels and resorts, and vacation getaways, not timeshare. But anyway, we were trying to get people to film a selfie testimonial, and we couldn't get it. So we came up with an idea, and mind you, this idea any business owner can use immediately. We all need testimonials, we all need ongoing reviews, we need social proof. But you can ask everybody for a review, or you can do what we did, which was we came up with an idea to do a survey of our clients, an internal survey, when we felt our client would be at their peak of happiness, which in our case was the day after they checked into the hotel. So we'd send them an email and text message and say, hey, how's the hotel living up to your expectations? How's your service been so far with us? So instead of asking them the moment they booked their hotel, we'd ask them when they checked in or the day after they checked in. So now if they gave us a 1, 2, or 3-star rating if something was wrong, well, we wanted that feedback privately so that we could jump on it and maybe do something about it.
Sure.
We'd see if we could fix the problem, contact the hotel, maybe move them, maybe stop promoting that property, whatever. If they gave us a 4 or 5, those were the ones that we were asking to go that extra mile and film a selfie testimonial video of the property and brag about the hotel brand and ours. And if they do that, we'd give them a bonus trip, 3 nights in Orlando or Las Vegas on us.
There you go.
Now, we knew that would be expensive, but we thought we need these video testimonials. We're going to pay for them here with a free bonus vacation for 3 nights in Orlando or Vegas. Well, that worked. Before we knew, we had dozens of these video testimonials coming in, and then a couple of hundred, and we had to turn the campaign off. We're like, this is going to get expensive fulfilling all these rooms. But then we went back to these hotel partners, Mike, and said, listen, guys, let's be honest. We think we've come up with an idea to solve a problem you have, Mr. Hotel. Let's be honest, your hotel is not full year round, is it? You've got, sure, you sell out certain holiday weeks, peak season, special events, but the majority of the year, 70% of the year, you've got what, 30, 40, 50% of your rooms sitting empty?
Yeah.
Yet you still have the same fixed costs. You have your mortgage, your maintenance crews, your front desk staff, etc. So we can put warm bodies in these rooms, families, couples, individuals that are likely going to spend money at the restaurant, the bar, the casino, the gift shop, the excursion desk. They might book extra nights, upgrade room types, take videos and selfie pictures and brag about it on social media to tell others about your hotel. So you get some revenue versus none. Once that clock clicks midnight on an empty room, that's revenue you're never going to see again.
True.
So when we can do it in a closed, private environment where nobody knows that these rooms are being discounted or given away for free, and you'll get access to some revenue versus none. Well, we got a few hotels to agree in Orlando and Vegas, and we could go back to now fulfilling these free trips we were promising in exchange for video testimonials. Well, by the way, that website today has over 30,000 video testimonials, more than any other travel site in the world, and called bookvip.com. And so then we thought, can you imagine if we had more hotels around the world participating with this idea? We'd have another standalone business all by itself, which is what eventually became marketingboost.com today, where we provide with a subscription to Marketing Boost, the ability for any small or large corporate business to be able to have the wow, surprise, and delight factor of being able to give away complimentary hotel stays from 3 to 7 night stays in over 130 destinations around the world to enhance whatever their call to action is.
Oh, so, I love that.
Yeah.
That's
so you
awesome.
have these very high perceived value, the travel incentives that that you can give away with buy my product and get a bonus, a holiday on us. They don't include airfare, they don't include food and beverage, of course, and they don't include the government taxes and fees. Right. So either the client can pay the government taxes and fees, or the business owner can if they have a high ticket sale product. Most of our members just do that disclosure and they let the client pay the activation fee, which covers those government taxes. They just say, hey, I'm going to cover your hotel 3 nights in Las Vegas on us, when you buy my product, or when you, request a free quote, or when you book a Zoom call. And we also have restaurant savings cards, and they come in increments of 25, 50, and $100, and hotel savings vouchers. They work kind of like a gift card, but they don't pay for the entire hotel stay, and they come in increments of $1, $2, $3, and $500, and they're good at over 1 million hotels worldwide. Wow. So with these 3 categories of incentives, you can, engage people on your Facebook group. You can throw contests, sweepstakes, lead generation ideas, trade show giveaways, you name it. There's 1 million ways. And we teach that within our community on how to use these incentives to generate more leads and close more sales.
That's awesome, man. That is just awesome. And the best thing about this? The best thing about this is that you generated this by keeping an eye on how do you continue to improve. Like you've been learning your entire life and preparing yourself your entire life for this.
Absolutely.
Right? I mean, think about it. Everything, all the ebbs and the flows and all the things that have happened, all in 2008, the whole thing, all that stuff that took place, all prepared you for this. I mean, I love this. This is one of the best stories we've ever put together, ever. This is cool, man. This is really cool.
Yeah.
What a great solution. I love it.
I'm working on a book, and I'm thinking the title is, what I have in line for the title right now is copy and paste your way to success. Yeah. So it's it's a bit about, obviously you have to not just copy paste, but the idea being don't learn from others.
Yeah.
And then make it your own.
Yeah.
Change it, modify it, put your personality to it.
Make it better.
Learn from others, starting way back from learning how to, other people's ways of cooking Mexican food. Yeah. And I mean, back then, we were taking pictures of the inventory. What kind of products were they ordering from? Who were they ordering from? What did their inventory sheets look like? What equipment did they order it from? What brands of steamers and cookers and this and the other? So that we would know what we might buy versus, just make it, Google, back then there was no Google even.
You've done it your entire life. You've done it. You've done what your dad taught you your entire life, and you're doing it today. And that's the beautiful thing about this is you're constantly looking for opportunity, and you're constantly looking to improve, right? And you're constantly looking to learn from others. That's the entire story of your life over and over and over again. It's just repeat, repeat, repeat. This is cool. This is really, really cool.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank God for your dad, right? And what he taught you. I mean, that's just awesome, man. Well, listen, Marco, thank you so much. And by the way, when you write your book, come back on and we'll promote it.
Okay, you will do.
Thank you so much for being our guest on the Mike Litton Experience. This has been fun. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you, Mike. My pleasure.
Thanks, buddy. We hope you enjoyed another episode of the Mike Litton Experience. If you did, do us a favor, smash that subscribe button, tell your friends, family, and coworkers about our program, and wherever you get your podcasts, please leave us a rating. It helps us to connect with quality people just like you.
And that's a wrap. Another episode of the Mike Litton Experience in the books. Reach out to Mike on Instagram at Litton Realty. Want to meet with Mike? Check out Calendly.com/Rio760.